pretend for a second that we are running a television network centered around sports. In other words, we are the complete opposite of ESPN. If it wasn't for the endless supply of content that ESPN provided me, I would be completely unbothered if they ceased to exist. Our sports network, it's going to be centered around the NFL, the NBA, college football, and basketball. No, we will not discuss the WNBA. We are strictly focused on real sports, not pretend basketball. We have an unbelievable opportunity to sign two legends in the industry. One is an NFL Hall of Famer, one of the best tight ends to ever play the game. This dude literally changed the position. He laid the foundation for guys like Jason Witten, Travis Kelce, Tony Gonzalez. Your other potential host, he is a polarizing, controversial figure in the media. He's covered the NFL and the NBA for over 30 years, built a franchise in the mornings at ESPN. Outside of cable news, his show was usually number one in its time slot. You know it's going to be expensive to get these two guys under contract, but it's going to be worth it because they're going to draw ratings for your network. The NFL Hall of Famer is the legendary Shannon Sharpe. You sign him to a long-term contract worth $3 million a year. You lure Skip Bayless away from ESPN, giving him what was at the time one of the largest contracts in sports media, $6 million a year. According to our resident math expert, Mina Kimes, you have $9 million a year tied up just in the co-host alone. That doesn't include expenses and budgeting for the studio setup, production staff, other low-level staffers. But you're not worried about it. You're not worried. Shannon Sharpe has millions of followers on social media, so does Skip Bayless, along with his name recognition in the mainstream. This show is going to be amazing! It's going to be a ratings extravaganza! Our entire morning lineup will be centered around the exciting debates between these two legends. Back in September, FS1, they revamped their daily lineup. They were looking to boost ratings for their struggling network. They moved Queen Fufu, Nikki Wright, from mornings to afternoons. As expected, he still sucks. They moved Nikki to make space for Craig Carton in the morning. Craig Carton, he is a successful radio host, very good on radio. They were hoping that success would translate to television. It didn't. His ratings on FS1 rival the viewership of this channel that you're watching right now. But none of that matters. None of that matters. Because FS1 has their cornerstone, their franchise every morning at 9:30. Shay Shay and Skippy Bebe, undisputedly woke. Like I said, this show is expensive to produce, $9 million dedicated to Shay and Bay alone. I don't know about you guys, but if I'm paying $9 million, I expect ratings growth, not ratings declines. The only growth Fox is receiving from Shay and Bay is the growth they experience after hearing woke boner words. The ratings growth is non-existent. Back in September, ratings for Undisputedly Woke declined by 28%. September 2021, they were averaging 203,000 viewers. 1 year later, that number dropped to 146,000. Right now, we're in the middle of the busiest time of year for sports. Heart of NFL season, NBA college basketball starting their regular season, the NHL, the World Cup. There's plenty of available topics to grow your ratings. I pulled a week's worth of data from November 2021. Skippy and Shay Shay, they were routinely hitting north of 200,000 viewers. Today, they're hovering around 163,000. Where did 100,000 people go? In the span of 12 months, how do you manage to lose a sizable portion of your audience? Did they swap over to Woke Take? On the surface, Woke Take shouldn't be doubling, sometimes tripling your audience. Most people like consistency, especially when it comes to opinion-related content. For example, if you guys clicked a video notification on this channel and saw a different face on your screen, most of you would exit out immediately. Stephen A. Smith has a rotating panel on Woke Take. FS1 has the consistency of having the same host every morning. Shay and Bay, they have tried to emulate the shitfuckery presented on Woke Take, but the duplicate is never better than the original. You're not going to out-woke ESPN. No amount of Skippy apologizing for his white privilege will beat Stephen A's sermons on racism. No amount of Shannon Sharpe displaying his feminine alter ego Shay Shay can outperform the feminine traits of the ultimate beta male Ryan Clark. ESPN, They have an all-star panel waiting in the dungeon, eager to display their stupidity. Jalen Rose, Malika Andrews, Elle Duncan, Mina Kimes, Mark Jones. Now, I know both Skip and Shay are in great physical shape, but there's no way two dudes can compete with that lineup of wokeness all by themselves. Every week, woke takes making headlines in the mainstream media. If you're Bay and Shay, what can you do to generate interest? What can you do to differentiate yourselves from Brother Stevie? You need an idea to get yourselves in the headlines and possibly convince people to actually watch your show. But KC, you're forgetting that Undisputed performs great on YouTube. Who fucking cares? You think Fox gives a shit about YouTube? I know how much they're getting paid for their views. It ain't enough to justify their salaries. It's not even close. They need to increase television ratings. So what can you do to be different from Stevie and his rotating cast of bongo partners? You get into a manufactured catfight about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield? You want to manufacture an argument over the most irrelevant quarterback in the league? Remember yesterday when we called out ESPN for lying about that Peter Burns-Ben Watson situation? The assumption that they were lying ended up being correct. Last night during Monday Night Football, Peter Burns publicly apologized to Ben Watson. Now, if that segment was pre-planned, if that was all scripted dialogue, why would Peter Burns need to apologize? That segment was real, but what I'm about to show you, I don't know. I don't know if it's real or not. Seems manufactured to me. Skip and Bay act out their roles to perfection, but to me this all comes off like a produced catfight. Let me show you first, then I'll explain why. For some reason, Skip Bayless has always had a chub for Baker Mayfield. I've never understood why. I'm sure some of it has to do with the Oklahoma connection, but Skip has always defended quarterbacks that have no business playing at the NFL level. Case in point, his relentless defense of Tim Tebow. Yesterday morning, the crux of this debate was centered around the question, did Baker Mayfield play well enough on Sunday against the Ravens to continue as the starter in Carolina? Now, the short answer, of course, is no. When you throw for less than 200 yards with almost as many interceptions as you have points, coupled with the history of Baker Mayfield being a complete bum, there's only one conclusion you can come to. He sucks. Skippy, he was defending his baby Baker. Shay was torching him. Watch for yourself.
Because all you do is bring up those 11 games. All you do is go back to talk about when he was a rookie and won 7 games. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about because I got the floor. Baker Mayfield is dead last in 2022 in QBR.
Blah, blah,
He's
blah.
dead last. I don't care, blah, blah, blah. He's 57.8. He's 33rd in completion percentage. You going to let me talk? Because that's what you do.
If you'll stay on point on question.
You never stay on point.
Okay, I'm about to stay on point.
You're not going to get on point until I'm done talking.
Okay, all right.
That's right.
Spew all your hate.
I'm going to spew it
your
all.
Baker hate. Spew it.
17.8, because all you talk about, you're uncertain about Justin Herbert, but you get on the floor for this clown. He's a bum. He's trash, and you know it. And every time you bring him up, I'm going to let the world know exactly what he is.
Oh, you and your 4 Twitter followers.
Don't worry about hold on.
Yeah, okay.
You talk about Twitter, and we come out here and discuss topics that you tweeted. So don't give me about that Twitter stuff. You can talk about my followers all you want, but I got you dead to right, and you see how he do America? He talk about my Twitter followers.
Honestly, I'm surprised Shannon Sharpe didn't turn this into a case of mythical racism. Skip blindly defends white quarterbacks like Tim Tebow and Baker Mayfield, but he's harsh on Lamar Jackson. He's been notoriously critical of LeBron James. I'm surprised Shannon Sharpe didn't mention this, but I get it. You're trying to be different. You're trying not to emulate woke take. And did I hear Skip Bayless mention Twitter followers during the argument? Twitter followers? Did I hear him say something to the effect of Shay Shay's 4 Twitter followers would back him up on this? What kind of grown man says something like that? What kind of grown man references someone's social media following in a debate on sports? I have more Twitter followers than you. Big fucking deal. Congratulations, Skip. You attract more lonely men than Shay Shay. What Shannon Sharpe said about Baker Mayfield was 100% correct. The dude's a bum. He sucks. I said the same thing about Baker Mayfield that I said about Kyler Murray. Anytime you hear whispers about quarterbacks in the NFL and their work ethic, there's a serious problem. You look at the guys that sustained long-term success: Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers. They all have one thing in common: work ethic. Baker Mayfield, he was too busy filming commercials to be worried about football. Kyler Murray, he's too busy playing Dungeons and Dragons. You think Drew Brees was playing Dungeons and Dragons in his spare time? No. You know where he was? At the practice facility. Only dude on the field, choreographing the game in his head, throwing pass after pass, playing out scenario after scenario. Now, to their credit, this was the most entertaining segment on Undisputed in quite some time, and they both played their roles to perfection, but I don't know, it still seemed manufactured to me. There is no way you can convince me at this point that Skip Bayless still believes Baker Mayfield is an NFL quarterback. They produced this segment to draw attention to the show. And look, I'm not knocking them for it. Do what you got to do. If someone's paying me $6 million every year and I'm underperforming in the ratings, I'm doing everything I can to increase them. Podcasting and YouTube, I don't want to say that it's killed televised debate shows like Undisputed, but it's definitely impacted their viewership numbers. I mean, for one, most of these so-called experts have no idea what they're talking about. One of my friends is a football coach. I'm not going to reveal where he coaches, but he knows what the hell he's talking about. The other day he told me most talking heads on TV don't have a clue. Seriously, what the hell does Mina Kimes know about the NFL? Both ESPN and Fox have these betting shows now, these so-called sports gambling experts. Slammin' Sammy went 9-0 last week in the NFL and an amazing 40-0 college football run. Take it from a guy who runs a sports book. If you don't believe anything else I say, you can take this to the bank. You will never win at sports betting. The odds are always in our favor. Most people think point spreads are formulated based on which team is better than the other. Spreads are configured based on which way odds makers want you to bet. Case in point, Cowboys-Vikings on Sunday. Vikings, 8-1, playing at home, and they're 2-point dogs. Guess which way all the money came in? On the Vikings, and look at what happened. But secondly, YouTube has hurt televised debate shows because people today are starved for authenticity. They want content without an agenda. Can't tell you how many times people have told me this channel and others similar to it are the only place they get their news. Why? Because ESPN's not authentic. I mentioned the Ben Watson incident earlier, prime example of the lack of authenticity at ESPN. But anyway, rambling off topic again. Let me know what you think. Why do you think Shay and Bay are struggling in the ratings? Give me your reason. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.